Hello, this is Mary Lewis. I'm product manager for Sylvan Software, and today I'm going to take you through an overview of our upcoming release of version 7.2 of Viewer. We are going to first look at user-controlled attributes, the new filtering exclude option, and then some enhanced view formatting options. So I'm going to take you through a quick overview and some PowerPoints, and then we'll get right into the demo. So first I'm just going to kind of level set for a minute and talk about what actually an attribute is in the world of Stratum. So it's basically a piece of information that describes your master data. So all of your descriptions, anything that describes a physical characteristic, product groupings, customer groupings, sales rep groupings, address, state, contact information, those are all attributes. And so I just took a quick screenshot to give you an idea of what all of the product attributes are in the environment that I'm using. So I have buyer information, I have different classifications, ABC codes, descriptions, etc. So that's what attributes are within Stratum. And so now with version 7.2, we're going to have two different types of attributes. First type is what you're used to now and what we're going to now refer to as a corporate controlled attribute, meaning that it's typically sourced from your corporate systems and it's updated as part of the nightly process. And if you've had any experience in trying to make some adjustment to these, you probably understand that it requires corporate and IT approval to make any adjustments, additions to a corporate controlled attribute. With version 7.2, we're introducing user-controlled attributes. So as the name would imply, these are attributes that the end user, the viewer users, have control over. And so their data is typically sourced from Excel spreadsheets. The data itself is going to be updated as needed by the users, and additions, changes don't require any IT assistance. And as I take you through the demo, hopefully you'll be able to see that. So what is the benefits of user-controlled attributes? Well, hopefully it's going to provide you with a road out of Excel help. So it's going to eliminate the need to mash up or correct or summarize your Stratum data outside of Stratum and taken out into Excel. So for example, in my environment, I do not have any corporate attributes that hold my marketing product class. So what I would have to do is each month do an export to Excel of my sales data at the product level, export it, take it into Excel, and then mash it up or put it together with my marketing product codes, and then use Excel to summarize it again. So that's a sign that I need to have a user-controlled attribute for my product marketing code. Another example I have seen is had a user that would each month, each week, would export their inventory information, including an ABC classification, and go in and just kind of fix the data a little bit because the ABC classification coming from their MRP system wasn't exactly right based on what they needed to do on the inventory planning side. So we would export that data, go into Excel, make the corrections, and then summarize it again. So user-controlled attributes are going to let you actually put those attributes into your Stratum Data Hub, and then you can leverage all of the power of Viewer as far as being able to have that data then automatically rolled up by product or any other levels that you want. You'll be able to control the frequency that your attribute information gets updated. And now your attributes that you've been controlling in your Excel spreadsheets are now going to be able to live side by side in the Stratum Hub, in the Stratum Data Hub. And it's going to complement that information because everything now is going to live together within your Stratum database. So I'm going to take you through the definition portion. So there's a user-controlled attribute maintenance. So we'll walk through that. And then I will walk you through an example of the master data import piece, which is where I'm actually going to be updating my attribute data that's going to live within Stratum. And then we're going to take a look at the exclude filtering enhancement, or as we sometimes call it here as the I want to see everything except filter. So if you've ever been in Viewer and you're trying to put together a view, or you have a report that you want to create where I wonder what my sales look like if I had all products except these 5. The exclude factor or the exclude filter is going to make creating those types of views and reports a lot easier. So we'll walk you through that. And then the last thing we're going to look at are some new viewer formatting options that are going to let you customize the look of your view. So if you have other applications that have a different kind of look and feel to them, hopefully with the new formatting options, you'll be able to change the look of your views and maybe get a more cohesive look between your different applications. So now I'm going to switch over and go into one of our test environments. And so, as I said, the first thing that we'll look at will be data import. And truly, data import, as far as the data, typically starts in an Excel spreadsheet. So I have an Excel spreadsheet that has a list of all of my, I think I have like, 5,500 products and their appropriate marketing product class, because that information does not exist within my Stratum database. So I am keeping it here in my Excel spreadsheet. So this is my spreadsheet. So I'm going to go into user-controlled attribute maintenance. And so you can see the user-controlled attributes I already have created. I have some for my customer parent, customer priority, customer ship to dimension. I have some things, attributes created for products, and then also for global, my UPC global number. So if I want to create a new attribute, I'm simply going to click on new. And then I'm going to select the dimension that this attribute is going to belong to. So I'm going to select product, and then I'm going to select the name that I want to give it. So this is going to be marketing product class. I'm just going to use product class 2 because I had previously created something else. And then I'm going to define my default value. So default value is going to be when my attribute is initially going to get created. We have to seed the data with a particular value, and that default value of, I'm just going to use question mark, it'll be seeded with that, and you'll be able to see that. Now the next question, create hierarchy, yes or no. Super important. So for the attribute that you're going to be adding into Stratum, do you want to be able to see your data summarized by the different values of that attribute? So in this case, since I'm adding a marketing product class, do I want to be able to see my sales data summarized by marketing product class? In this case, absolutely I do. So I'm going to set that to yes. So that's going to create a hierarchy for me that I can now use in any of my views, just like any other hierarchy that's going to exist in Stratum. That gives me my, as we would call, a level of summarization that's going to be available to all of my users. So I'm just going to take the default on the hierarchy name and the level name. And then at this point, I just need to click save. I had already created that one, so we'll just give it a 4. Click save. Now it's going to gives me a message telling me that a full connector process is required. So a connector process is what happens when a full connector process is what happens if I'm changing or adding things to my Stratum data model, which certainly this is going to do. So an email also goes off to the Stratum administrator to let them know a full process needs to be run so that this particular attribute could get added. So I'm just going to go ahead, select that, and then I'll just, I already created my product marketing class attribute, and I ran a connector process last night. So it's already been added to my database. So typically your full connector process, depending on your environment, is probably going to be something that's going to be run at night. Sometimes a full process may have to wait for the weekend. So you'll just need to be in touch with your administrator to get a feel for what the timing is going to be. So I created this the other day. So it's for my product dimension. My attribute name is marketing product class. Yes, I wanted a hierarchy. Here's my hierarchy name and my level. So that's already been added to my database. So I can go ahead and I'm going to go take a look in my view. So now I can add that attribute to my view so I can see what my data looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Okay, and everything is set to question mark, which is what I expected because that is in fact my default, the default value that I wanted it to use. So there's my attribute. And then what I also want to do, I said yes for create hierarchy. So when I go to my list of hierarchies, I now see my product marketing class hierarchy that I also asked to be created. So I'm going to select that, and then I'm just going to move it over into the first position. And now I can see there's my product marketing class hierarchy. Of course, everything is again set to question mark, my default value, and that's all of my products right now roll up into that default marketing product class. So now I'm ready to actually import my spreadsheet that we started with. So I'm going to import this into Stratum. So now so then I'll be able to see what my product sales look like by my marketing product class. So I'm just going to click on my ad, and this is my Excel file that I showed you. And then it's going to go through the Excel file and it's going to look at my Stratum data model and look at the captions within my Excel sheet and see if it can find matches. So obviously my product dimension and my product column, perfect match. And then for my attribute, marketing product class, same name I included in my spreadsheet. Doesn't have to be, you can do a manual mapping, but in my case, I named everything exactly how I wanted them. So it did automatic mapping. I can change that if instead this was promotions or my ABC class, I can do that. The important thing to remember on this screen is that the attributes that are available for me to do the import are only my user-controlled attributes. I cannot change any attribute information for my corporate controlled attributes. Those are still secured, sourced from corporate, controlled by IT, cannot be changed by users, cannot be changed by user-controlled attributes or the master data import. So no worries about stepping on top of or changing your corporate data. Cannot happen. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to select my marketing product class, and then I'm going to just go ahead and click to submit this. It goes through a little validation, take a little time, that's fine. So that just got submitted. So if I want to take a look at my job, so I can see based on my file name, my dimension, who the owner was, that's me, and when it was submitted, and it's currently in process. So that's going through and now updating my master file information, and I see I got my message telling me that it has completed. So I'm going to go back into my view. Let's see. Oh, I should have saved that. Okay, so I'm going to have to go back in and add my product marketing class attribute. And now I can see all of my different ones are there. That's perfect. And then I'm going to add my hierarchy back in. And I need my product marketing class. Got it. And then I'm going to just move it to the first position in rows. And so now I can see, based on the contents of my Excel file, I can see my 4 different product classes. And so then I can see all of my products that belong to private label, my other brand, etc. So because for my attribute, I said yes, that I wanted to create a hierarchy, that's what gives me now the ability to now see my sales data summarized by my user controlled attribute. So if I look at this one, I still have some showing up as question mark, which maybe I wasn't really expecting. But now I can see there's 2 products that still have that default marketing product class. So that tells me that those 2 products are not on my Excel sheet. So I missed those. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that and I'm going to add them to my Excel sheet, because doing a little research makes me realize that those are newer products that I had not added yet. And they're from a new product marketing class that I'm just going to call International. And I'm going to do this. And I'm also I'm going to go ahead and this blueberry filling. I know that that also belongs to that new marketing product class. So I'm going to go ahead, make that change. I'm going to save it in my Excel sheet. And now we're going to go back into master data import, and I'm going to re-import my file with my updated data. And then we can take a look and see what my view looks like. So when you do your master data import, it learns your matching routine. So my automatic mapping works out perfect. Marketing product class, that's all good. Go through my validation again, that's all good. And then we're going to resubmit it. And then again, I can see there's the job I submitted. Oh, there's the first one that I did that I now see is completed. And now I'm going to go back into my product year-to-date, back into that view that I started with. And I can see from my email message down here, my data import's done. Actually, I know it's done because now I can see my new product marketing class for international is now showing up. And now it's those 3 products that I had updated and given that particular product classification to. And now I can see all of my data is now properly categorized by marketing product class, and now it's available for me or any of my other Stratum users to be able to use within Viewer to create whatever reports I need or do my analysis. So from here, we're going to move on to filtering and my new filtering options. So I'm just going to put product on rows, and we're going to start at our filter window. So for product, if I want it, so you'll notice there's a new drop-down box here. So I can determine for any of my filters if it's an include or an exclude. So if I go in here and if I want to select, I want to see all of my pair products, I can go ahead, do this search. I'm going to select them. I have 402, and I go ahead and leave it at include. And now I can run my view, and now I'm looking at my sales and for all of my pair related products. I can go back into manage filters, and then if I decided, well, what I really wanted to do is I wanted to see my sales for everything except my pair related products. So I can go ahead and simply by flipping that switch from include to exclude, and then I can also see it in my hover text. It totally changes the report and the information that I'm looking at. So I can use this for my member filters. I can use it with if I have an expression or if I have a user list. So if I change my filter type, and so I'm going to switch over to a user list. And so I have a user list out there that's for all of my Apple products. Can click on OK. And if I want that to be an include, now I'm looking at my information filtered to only my Apple related products, and that's filtered based on my user list. And then I can go back in, change that to exclude, and now I'm looking at everything except my Apple products. So if I want to move that, for example, to view filter and show my product marketing classes, so now I'm looking at what my product class summarizations look like for everything except my Apple products. So I can use that filter for any level that I want. It can be included in rows, columns, view filter. You have all the flexibility that you have with any of your other filter types. So now I'm going to switch over into a separate environment to take a look at the new formatting options that are going to be available in version 7.2. And for that, I'm going to start in the application window, which is available to just your view administrator. And under our view section, you have a whole bunch of new options for base color, alternating row color, total row color, your border. You can pick your fonts, your font colors, to do however you want your base default look and feel for your views. You can set that here under the application. So right now, everything is just set based on the defaults that come with version 7.2, which is really just a pretty blank palette. So if you've worked in Excel at all, it kind of matches what your default look for Excel is. So if I want to go in and, you know what, I want to add just a little bit of color to that, to my default look. So I can go in and for my base color, I'm going to click on, and then from my color window here, I'm going to pick just like a light yellow, because that matches some of the other applications, corporate applications that we have here. So that's going to give me a more cohesive look as I move between viewer and then some of my other applications. So here's what it looks like with a little bit of yellow to it. If you end up and if you like what the previous look of viewer, you absolutely can set your views to look like that. My base color being a light gray, and then using a alternating row color of white, and then my totals are a darker gray. So you have the ability to do that. And the other thing that goes along with the customizing color is you also have the ability now to set a fill color for any column that exists in your view. So in this case, for my percent of total growth, I'm going to pick a color. I'm just going to do like a light green for it, just to make sure it grabs my end user's attention. So I can go ahead and actually do a specific color for my view. Or if I decide that I really don't like the default look for the view, I can absolutely go in through my edit display options, and you'll notice there's a new tab here under grid format. And if I want to use the default that the view for viewer that it's set in the application window, I can do that. Or in this case, I actually came in and I changed those default colors. So let's see if I want to, rather than that gray, I'm just going to make it a little blue. I can go ahead, pick that. So each user, for each individual view, can either just use the defaults that have been set up within Viewer, or you can customize it. So depending on the view or who the users are, you can give it a specific look and feel. So that is the end of our demo portion. So, so for Stratum version 7.2, projected availability is the end of the year, so December 2020. And just a couple notes for the user-controlled attribute portion of version 7.2. To take advantage of that, you do need to be, your Stratum server application has to be on Windows Server. And you also have to have a licensing to the planning application. Everything else that we've checked about for version 7.2 for the new filtering options and the customization options of the grid, those are available to everyone as part of version 7.2. So I hope this helped give you an idea of what is coming in the future. If you have any questions, if you want to reserve your copy, here's all kinds of different ways to get in touch with us. So thank you for giving us some of your time today.